Hello, I thought I'd do another video for you since you liked the last one. This one's on 14.3, using direct proportion. You can find it on page 140. Okay, so it's a bit of a confusing title, but it's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to do my own explanation. You can find another explanation on page 140. So you'll have your two explanations to look at. With this video, again, you can rewatch anything you think I go too fast with. And then we'll still have the lesson if you've got more questions. So I'm going to explain what it is, and I'll do some example questions, and then I'm going to set the work at the end of the video. Okay? So direct proportion. Direct proportion is just when, if one thing increases, the ratio with something else stays the same and increases by the same proportion. So again, that sounds a bit confusing. I'm going to show you some examples. So the most common examples are when you buy something. So here, 2 apples, it's going to cost 30 cents. Other examples might be how much something weighs, or how much time you spend doing something, or a recipe. Quite often you have recipes. But a really common one is spending money. So I'm going to show you this. So what I mean by increasing by the same proportion is that if we take 4 apples now, I'm sure you can all work out how much it's going to cost just from what you know about maths. But what we mean is it's increasing by the same proportion. So this is going times 2. It's doubling, it's times by 2. And so this increases by the same proportion, times by 2 as well. So we get 60 cents. So this doubles and this doubles. It's increasing by the same proportion. You can't say it increases by the same amount, because here we've added 2 apples, and here we've added 30 cents. So it's not the same amounts, but it is the same proportion. That's why we have a confusing sounding title. Okay, so it's just ratios. It's what we've been doing with simplifying ratios and splitting ratios, but just with words in the question, basically. So we can go from 2 apples to 4 apples. We could go, if we want to go to 10 apples, oops, I'll go red for apples. Then we've times the 2 by 5 this time. So we go around here, times by 5. So what do we have to do to the money? We're going to times that by 5 as well. So we're just increasing it by the same proportion. And so 30 times 5, 150 cents, or €1.50. Now that's increasing by the same proportion. We can also decrease by a proportion. So imagine we want 1 apple. Again, I think you'll all be able to work it out. It's a pretty straightforward question. But what we're doing is we're dividing by 2. So we do the same here. So if we get harder questions, we'll be able to do it using this method. But yeah, 1 apple is 15 cents. Okay, so it's just about increasing and decreasing things by the same proportion each time. So doing the same thing to both sides of a ratio, basically. Okay, I'll show you what some questions might look like. So here we've got one. Tom practices the trombone for 2 hours each day. How many hours does he practice for in 1 week? So we're looking at this question, we're reading it through, and what bits are important? Well, he's doing 2 hours each day. So you could make a little ratio. 1 day, he's going to do 2 hours. Or you could have had 2 hours is 1 day, that's fine as well. How many hours does he practice for in 1 week? So how many days are in a week? You should all know there's 7 days. So now we need to work out what 7 days is going to be. So I'm going to times this side by 7. So I have to do the same here. This has got 7 times bigger, So we have to make the other side 7 times bigger. So 2 times 7, 14 hours. Okay. 10 days, same idea. I'm going to start off with this bit here. So let me just copy it actually. Oops. It's not what I wanted. Starting off with the same ratio down here. And then we want to go to 10 days instead. So what am I timesing by? Well, 10. So I'm going to increase this other side by the same proportion. So that should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to move on to the next one. Helen spent €16.60 on 4 identical meals. It's important that they're identical because that means that they cost the same amount. Okay. How much does it cost for one meal? Well, we can make our ratio again. I like to put the simpler number at the front. That's why I did it here as well. 1 day for 2 hours. 4 meals, €16.60. So to work out one meal, we're not timesing anymore. We need to get to 1. So what do? We can divide by 4. And same on the other side. So you should be able to work this out without your calculator. Divide by 4, you get €4.15. Okay. Now for 6 meals, you've got 2 options here. You can either use what you've found out in part A. So I'll do that quickly. 16 meals is going to be what it costs for 14 meals. And you can add on 1 meal, add on 1 meal. Oops, just 1. And what do you get? That's $24.90. So you can just use what you've found in part A if you found 1 meal. You could also do 1 meal and times it by 6 to go up to your 6 meals. Or just to show you another thing you could do, if you started off with 4 16.60, and we want to add on 2 more meals to get to 6. So you could work out what 2 meals was by dividing by 2. So we do the same on the other side, and you would get 8.30, and then you would do your 16.60, add your 8.30, and you get the same answer. So there's different ways to do these questions. Quite often, if you find out what 1 is, it makes it much easier to do the rest of it, because then you can just times it by however much you want, or add it on as many times as you want. So the work to do is going to be page 140 to 141, questions 1 to 8. And if you put your answers on a Google form I'm going to create, and then I get to check them all out. If you look at questions 3 and 6, they have little boxes to help you with the working out. But on the Google form, you'll just have to put the answer, because otherwise it's too messy. So use the boxes to help you when you're doing the question, but just the final answer in the form. Okay. We're going to have the lesson. We'll start it just before 2, probably. So a little bit later, so you've got time to watch the video and get started. And then if you're all happy, you can just put your answers in Google Forms. It's fine. If you're getting confused, I'll be there and I can help you out. Okay, so I will see you then. Good luck.